Everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Julia, I'm a mindset coach, and here on High Value I'm talking about all things consciousness, inner healing, self-love and manifestation. Today I feel inspired to talk about what you can do and what attitude you want to embody when healing feels difficult, or when your personal journey feels difficult, or even when you're having difficulties on your manifestation journey. You're trying to manifest something and you're trying to achieve something, and sometimes it can feel difficult, and it's completely human. And at the same time, it's important that we are compassionate with ourselves, but we don't want to spiral down into our old patterns, into our old self-concept too much, because then we kind of start dwelling and we start sabotaging our growth, and that's what we're going to talk about today. But before I jump into the topic, I want to let you know that if you're looking for one-on-one support, then check out the links in the box below. I'm offering email coaching, a one-on-one personal coaching, and email coaching is also personalized, but email coaching or video coaching. And I'm also offering a money mindset meditation course. It's new. You can also find that down in the box. All right, and now let's get started with the topic. So it's so normal that sometimes when we're working on ourselves, we just have these days, or sometimes it's just a few moments or hours, and sometimes it can be weeks where we are feeling off. And the thing is that, as I already said, it's perfectly human that this happens. But the thing is that if we are, instead of pulling ourselves out of these states, if we are dwelling in these states and if we are identified with these states and we're not realizing that we're actually creating them, what we're then doing is we're starting to actually manifest and create the opposite life of what we actually want without even understanding what we're doing. So that's why I want to elaborate a little more on this today, so you can understand the subtle differences between allowing yourself to rest and to dwelling, and what you can do when you are in a state where you're feeling down or triggered, or when you're feeling like really stuck, and how you can actually help yourself shift out of that state. All right, let's get started. There are a few points to cover, and I'm going to tackle them one by one. So when you're in an energy of lack and you are feeling that this energy is really pulling you down, and it's not the energy that you want to be in. And this happens usually when we're triggered and when something reminds us of an old wounding. Now, it's okay to be triggered and it's okay that wounds come up, but the specific state that I'm talking about here is you're not just triggered and you're not just feeling you're in a wounding, but you're also deeply identified with it. That's when our wounding really tears us down, is when we're not knowing what is going on. We're not conscious that this is actually happening within us. We're not conscious of how we are feeding it, and we're just spending time in the state kind of hoping that it is going to go away. You need to recognize if there's a pattern in your life where you know that it's not just going away. It's not just going away, and it kept coming back for years, maybe weeks, but for the most part, probably even years. And when you're then just resting, you can try, I bet you already tried, but if it doesn't go away by just relaxing yourself, then would be the time where I would say, all right, I allow myself to rest, of course, but then I'm going to start to introspect so I can actually start to break free of this pattern. Because what we don't want, and what I certainly don't want for myself, and what I don't want for you, is that this pattern keeps coming back and keeps coming back and keeps pulling you down. It's really not necessary, and I know it feels difficult to dig into these patterns that feel so draining. But you know what? Better you keep digging into them a few times and then you start to feel more free than having them come back for the rest of your life. Like, really, it's actually a very simple choice. And if you keep on working on those patterns, and if you keep becoming aware, they will start to dissipate and they will start to dissolve in time. So the crucial factor here is your consciousness. It's not the time you're spending on it, it's really your consciousness. You could be lying on the couch, or you could be sitting somewhere and looking really relaxed and maybe even feeling relaxed. But if you're conscious of the pattern, you are freeing yourself. That's really the difference between being triggered and dwelling and being triggered and healing. It's when you're dwelling, you are suffering and you're trying to push the pain away and you don't want to look at it, you don't want this part to come up, you really are in resistance. Yeah, that's the I don't want it, and then you're having all these needs to numb it out and numb it away, distract yourself. And I mean, I honestly know what I'm talking about, because I see how my own patterns are playing out, and I love doing inner work, but sometimes it can feel difficult to face those inner patterns. But each time you're doing it, you're becoming stronger. So don't be angry with yourself, but love yourself enough to, instead of numbing or distracting all the time, take a look inside. And I'm gonna explain in this video how to do that, so you know where to start. Having some kind of milestones or some kind of stepping stones can help you to actually get started. So the first thing, as I said, you want to do is you want to become aware of it. When you're feeling this pattern, yeah, there are millions of, or maybe not millions, but there are many different patterns, yeah. It could be a pattern of jealousy, it could be a pattern of inadequacy, it could be a pattern of fear of abandonment, it could be your inner critic, it could be insecurities showing up. Like, they're all intertwined, yeah. So it's basically just this one big pattern of lack. But there are different, flavors, you could say. It's a very positive word for the energy that I'm describing, but there are different flavors of lack, and there are different stories attached to each of these flavors that are showing up for you. And what you want to do is you want to just start to recognize, all right, I'm triggered into my lack mentality, yeah? I am in my lack energy, and just by knowing that, you're already starting to free yourself, you're already starting to become more conscious and to raise your awareness. So simply knowing, all right, I'm in lack right now, just labeling, I'm in lack right now, I'm distracting myself right now. Also looking at the coping mechanisms. I'm distracting myself right now, okay, now I'm numbing myself, now I want to eat, now I want to drink, now I want to smoke, now I want to, I don't know, go party, although I really just feel bad about myself, like I just want to distract myself. When you know that and when you see how this pattern is playing out in your life, you're making a big step forward, because in observing it, you're starting to create some distance between you and the pattern. And that's really, really vital, and it's really, really important. As a next step, of course, you don't just want to look at a pattern, you want to start to become aware of the stories that are playing out in your mind and of the emotions that you're feeling. So you see the pattern, you're feeling the lack energy, you're starting to become conscious of your inner dialogue and how that makes you feel, and this creates even more of a distance. And what you can do then is, it will help you start disidentify from that inner dialogue that was going on, which is your old self-concept, and you can jump in and you can soothe yourself, yeah? And you can do that always, you don't have to first observe your inner dialogue. But this is one important step that will help you heal, is to jump in and soothe yourself. This will help you interrupt the pattern that's going on. Or at the very least, create some distance and create some awareness that there needs something to be shifted right now, or that there needs something to be changed in the way that you're talking to yourself right now. You're jumping in, you're interrupting your thoughts, you're giving yourself love, and that will help you calm your mind down, calm yourself down. Then you can start thinking new thoughts, you can start changing the pattern. And you don't need to do this all at once, yeah? It's a journey, it's a process. When I'm a little triggered, I can do all of these steps. I can observe my inner dialogue, I can jump in, interrupt the thoughts, soothe myself, and then create new affirmations in the moment and feel better immediately. If it's a big trigger, probably I'll spend some time simply observing and feeling it, because it will be quite paralyzing, and that's okay. But just because it's a huge trigger doesn't mean that working on it won't benefit you. It will benefit you. It will benefit you. It's sometimes, it's hard to see the progress, and I totally get it. But imagine where you could be in 1 year or maybe a few months, and imagine where you will be in like 3 or 5 years. Like when I talk to people that I know for many years, and they sometimes ask me or tell me like, wow, you've made such a big of a transformation, and I just stand in that moment, realize, yeah, I actually did. Like, I'm actually nowhere near where I was a few years ago. Like, do I see that in my daily life? Well, I'm not every day super conscious of that, because I just keep focusing on the next step. I don't really think about, 5 years ago I was so depressed. Like, I don't really think about that. But it's amazing actually, because if you stick to your inner healing, you will get there. You will get to where you want to be. And you will create healing. Sometimes it's more obvious, sometimes it will be less obvious, but you need to remember that you are on this journey and that some steps feel difficult, and it's still totally worth it. All the effort that you pour into yourself is so worth it. Like, I can't describe, like, I wouldn't want to miss one single bit of work that I have poured into my healing, because it's just so amazing to be stable and to be in control of your own mental health. And it wasn't always that way. And in moments when I'm triggered, in those moments I don't feel extremely happy, or I don't feel like amazing, even if I know I'm gonna feel better in just a bit, in just a few minutes, or sometimes just a few hours, or sometimes in the next day. It's not amazing to be in this trigger, but it's amazing to know that each time I'm working on it, I'm learning more about myself, I'm healing a little more, and I'm gonna get out faster. And I know that a few years ago, I wouldn't even recognize those triggers. And even, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago, I would spend weeks in my pain without even being fully aware of it. Like, I was aware that there was something going on, but I still didn't know exactly what to do, to the point where now I'm like, I can still spend some time in my pain without becoming fully conscious and like really showing up for myself, but it will not be an entire day, for sure not. I will be aware of that every single day, because I've worked on it. That's what I'm trying to say. It wasn't always like this, and it's still not always extremely easy when all pain shows up, but it's getting easier every single time, because at some point you're going to stop judging your pain, and you're going to be very aware that this is just a trigger. You're going to be very aware that you've built this whole entire new self-concept. I'm gonna link a video about that up here or here, I don't know which side it is. And the new self-concept, your new you, is going to become so strong that you're not going to get so hooked into these old triggers anymore. So if you're having a bad day, if you're having a bad hour or a bad week, or even if you had a bad, very long time, start now by observing your thoughts, journal them out, feel your feelings, journal them out, do your inner child meditations. Really show up for yourself. You're so worth it. And I know sometimes it can feel extremely paralyzing. I know how that feels, really. You need to keep on becoming conscious of what it is that is going on. And by journaling about it, and by meditating on it, and contemplating on it, and redefining yourself, you're creating a new version of yourself that is stronger and that is more connected to love and that shows up for yourself. Just hang in there, and you're gonna be amazed by your own potential and your own power and your own ability to heal and love yourself. So this is my reminder for today. I felt really inspired to do that, because I'm sometimes amazed by how high in energy I can be, and then when there's a trigger, like, it can really feel extremely draining. And even although I have all the tools, it can feel difficult. And that's why I wanted to hop on here and remind you all of that. And yeah, just spread some motivation. You're not alone with this. Don't leave yourself hanging. All right, thank you so much for being here and doing your inner work. If you need support on your journey, reach out to me. I have put the links in the box below. And now I wish you a beautiful rest of your day. Bye-bye.